Alright, so I got these battery terminals here that I need to change out because they're all corroded. I mean, you can see that one there is probably like a half a terminal now. So the way this is set up is there's two powers. I have 3 batteries in parallel. I've got a power positive off of each end that run to here. So there's 2 feeds. And I got 1 feed out to the starter. And then this is for an external lug right here for jump starting or power. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unhook these cables. Or second thing I'll do is unhook those cables. The first thing that I did was I unhooked the battery side, so I don't arc out with a wrench or anything, or they don't touch anything. So yeah. So next I'm gonna take the bolts off, the nuts off, and remove these terminals. And after we get these terminals off, I'm gonna cut back and see where I get actually clean wire, because I don't want to crimp. I don't want to crimp the wire in there that's all corroded still or got corrosion on it. This is a battery disconnect that these are wired to. I have another battery disconnect that I'm going to put in place of this one because there isn't too much left of this one. So yeah, we're pretty corroded here. So I cut this one back a little bit. You can see I'm getting into some clean stuff back here, so I'm not going to use this end here. I'm going to cut into it a little bit. So I got plenty of slack on this end. The battery side obviously concerns me because I have some slack, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough to get to the clean part of the terminals, or the clean part of the wire. That don't look that bad. This is 4/0 wire. So I guess. Oh yeah, we got another one over here I didn't notice. Oh yeah, ain't too much left of this, huh? Well, my concern is getting good cable in this. You can see it's all green in there. Yeah, I don't know, it feels pretty crunchy. Alright, so this is the disconnect that I got. It is a different dimension than what was there, so I have to drill this hole out a little bit bigger. There's already a hole there, obviously, so I'm going to take a piece of ply or 2x4, and I'm going to clamp it on so I can drill into it, and then I can use it to center my hole saw and keep it from walking around. This hole saw is a pretty neat, it's like a Diablo kit, and you just slide that back and you can change out the bits. Push it back in, it's in there. So that's kind of how it's working. It's walking around a little bit, but it's going through. So I went with a bit that was a little bit bigger, or I mean a little bit smaller than what I needed, because I figured it was going to walk around, and it is, so it should be the right size by the time I'm done. came with this bracket to bolt it into, but I'd rather just use what's there. Because everything's all wired up to this area already, and I mean, I was thinking of mounting it, because I could have mounted it to that and just put the switch vertical, but I think if I put it vertical, it's going to get a bunch of salt and moisture down in where the shaft of the switch goes. I mean, it's probably going to get stuff in there anyway, but I'd rather have it horizontally so it doesn't just kind of run in there. That's very close. So I gotta file and clean that up a little bit. Alright, so this has got like a little tab on it. I gotta put a little hole in here for. There we are. Give you a wavy washer and a big nut. Try to wear the wrench for. Alright, so the wrench I got was 1 7/16. Seems to fit pretty well, so that's what I'm gonna go with. Might be the next size down. Or metric or something. But this works, so. Alright. So, I mean, this cable looks alright. Oh, except for the end, of course. So. gonna do about this one. Don't know. I guess I can go back to there. About. All right, well, work at this one, see what I can use. All right. Don't have a cable cutter, so I figured this was the next best thing. I'll kind of open that up a little bit. I wish I had a cable cutter. Pliers. Kind of fanned open the end, kind of like a mushroom, so can't get the connector on. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that other cable. I might have to replace the whole thing because it's pretty bad. I mean, I'm about the end of what I can use, and it's just falling apart in the inside. Just the way it was sitting, where it went down, the water and stuff was able to just go right in there and flow. Okay, sometimes you just need the right tool for the job. So these are a pair of cable cutters. They wrap around the cable so it kind of shears it. You can't really use bolt cutters or anything because they'll squeeze the cable and they'll just flare it out. I mean, it might cut it, but it's not going to do what you want it to do. So I had to cut this back a little bit because when I was using the grinder, it was flaring out like a mushroom, and I couldn't get the connector on. So I recut it, and I cut the insulation back. So then we'll slip this on. I'll have to use two hands. And then, because this is a 4.0, I'll read the little chart here, if you can read the chart. I don't know if it'll focus. But there's two charts. There's one on this side, and there's one on this side. It's for flared starter lugs and battery terminal power lug die settings. So we are a 4.0 cable, so we need to have it on A and A, color coded yellow, and number of crimps is 2. So you want to crimp it twice. So up here we see we got an A and an A. To rotate this, you just push this in, and then you rotate the die around, and it will come to the size that you need. And you got to match it for your cable, and you have to match it for your connector. So we take this. Oh, I cut this. I had it basically right there, so should be good. See what you're seeing. All right. So I'm going to leave enough room to crimp it twice. So I'll do one down at the end here. And give it a squeeze. So that didn't seem like very much. Crimp it up a little farther. Another squeeze. And I guess that's done. So here's that. It don't come off, so I don't know, it doesn't take a lot of pressure on there. I'll have to get some heat shrink, a little section to go over there to heat shrink it. I gotta look for some. I don't know if I have any here because I'm kind of piecing together what is available. I'll probably have to get some, but that's how you do that. I'm probably gonna have to replace this other whole cable because I'm getting to a point where I can't use the length anymore. So I'll have to get some more cable for that. So that's where we are right now. So I'll continue on with these cables, and I'll come back when I get something new. Alright, so I'm making some cables here. I already made the other ones. So basically I stripped the wire back so it would go in all the way. These ones have 2 little lines on them. They're painted. Well, 3 lines painted. So these are supposed to be crimped twice between that one and between those 2. So I pretty much, I mean, I've done a couple of them, so I know I stripped it so it's a little bit beyond there. It'll go in as far as I can get it. And first thing I do is slip on the heat shrink. The heat shrink was able to slip over the other ones, but because this one's got a 90 on it, it might not slip on, so I put it on first. And then just kind of try to get all the little fibers in. A little twist sometimes, it helps it go on. That's in there. We got our crimper set up how it's supposed to be on AA. Let's turn it around. Little adjustment pins are hitting. Crimp number 1. Crimp number 2. I gotta put another one on there. I don't really like the way that crimped. to be perfectly honest. I don't know if it's something to do with this one in specific, but all the other ones crimp differently. It might even be the wire. I guess it's on there. Well, I guess it's on there. Seems like it. So I will heat shrink the end. You want it to have an even overlap, half and half. You start in the middle, that way you don't get like air bubbles in there. It'll kind of, as it shrinks, it'll work the air bubbles out the ends. Because there's glue in here, so the glue will kind of make a good connection. It'll seal it all up so you don't get salt and water and contaminants and stuff in there. Part of the reason I have to change the whole long harness is because there wasn't any this heat shrink on the ends, so the salt water just worked its way right up into the wire, and I mean it probably went a good 5 feet in there. The orientation of the wire it was down, kind of like this, so it just traveled in and sat in there and kind of ruined it. Keep working yourself around. It's all shrunk. And stay on one spot because it'll burn it. Just kind of give it a little squeeze. Obviously wear gloves so you don't burn your hands because it is pretty hot. And that's how you make a cable end, or put a lug on a piece of wire. There's a bunch of different types of connectors. These are crimp ones. They have ones that you screw on, that you just kind of screw it onto the wire. There's other ones that have like a clamp that you thread the clamp, or you thread like a section of the terminal into it, and it squeezes on the wire as you screw it in. Kind of like a flare fitting, sort of, or a compression fitting. I guess it compresses on it. And then there's you can solder them, so you get to put solder in them. They make these little plugs that you can put in there, and it's supposedly the correct amount of solder. And you can just put this in the vise, heat this up, and then shove your wire in. Or you can crimp it like this. So I put the other end on, and then I'll put it in the I'll run it back in. It goes up to the starter, but you can see. So I got one here, I did, and then this other one here. They both run to the battery disconnect right there. So yeah, I did all these connections. This one here is the original connection because it was here and it was longer, obviously, so I was able to cut that one down because there was the section of bad stuff was short enough where I could just, I think it cut like a foot off. So here's the one, here's a piece I cut off, so I'm beyond the corroded end. So just trying to make do with what I got because the stuff's expensive. So I'll make the other end and then I'll put it in. Okay, so here's what it looks like all finished up. Here's right around, there's the other one I shortened. And they both come up to here. There's a junction. Both wires. So we got a disconnect working. It just kind of runs down all along, all the way up around the oil pan to the starter. And that's the end of that. So I started it up, it works. And yep, hope this helps someone.